Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Watchers live stream for February 26th, 2025. My name is Gary.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Hope you're all having a fantastic day so far, a good week. We already had a comment from our good friend Nadia over at Horror and More saying, hi ho.
Hi ho.
Hello. Hope you're having a good week. But before we get started with anything this week, Kevin, how have you been?
I've been doing good. Just hanging in there at work and everything like that. Finals of school this week, such like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, same with me. This is my final week for my first course, so I'll have my big paper due this weekend. But other than that, like you, just hanging in.
Hanging in. Yep.
But let's go ahead and jump into the stories this week. And up first, pretty big one. Kathleen Kennedy is going to be stepping down as Lucasfilm's president at the end of the year. This was announced yesterday or this morning, and I think people were popping champagne bottles all over the world because a lot of people don't really like with the films and stuff that she's done under her watch. I mean, yeah, the franchise has struggled under her leadership, and it's not entirely her fault. And you got to be honest, she's a very, very good producer. She's she is a Hall of Fame great producer. Like, she has produced things like Jurassic Park, all these huge films. Worked with Steven Spielberg a lot, so she knows what she's doing. But when it came to running a company, don't necessarily think that was the best option. But
two different businesses, I feel like.
I mean, it's a little different when you're producing a movie versus running a company that runs a franchise. It's a little different. But people are speculating that Dave Filoni will be taking over as president of Lucasfilm, which would be probably the best move. But still no idea just yet.
Yeah, no idea. But next up, if you want to go see a Star Wars movie, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith theatrical release date set for its 20th anniversary on April 25th. So if you wanted to go see it on the big screen, now I am really bad about which movie is this one. Revenge of the Sith is the first movie.
Revenge of the Sith is episode 3, which is the last of the prequel movies.
Yeah,
it's the one where Anakin becomes Darth Vader.
Spoiler alert! Wow,
it's been out for 20 years. If you haven't seen it, at this point, it's the only movie of the prequels that's worth anything. So, but next up here, Avengers: Doomsday and Secret Wars will be filming back to back. Say the Russo brothers, and they're basically saying hopefully they'll survive the whole ordeal. I mean, it makes sense. I guess they're going to be shooting in London and kind of doing it back to back, which makes sense. If you want to make them cohesive in one story, you got to go for it. Also, they said that the story for this one is going to be unlike anything that Marvel's done before and will be challenging for audiences. So, don't necessarily know if that's the word you want to hear.
Yeah,
but but hey, if it's good, it's good. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. I believe in the Russo bros. So. Next up, early reactions to private showings of Avatar Fire and Ash call it highly emotional and probably the best of the three. I could care less, to be honest.
You got to take this at face value, right? This is James Cameron showing it to friends of his. And they're not going to be the ones that give the most welcoming feedback, or not the most critical feedback, I should say. I still think this is not going to be. I mean, I'm excited for this one in the same way that I was excited for the second one. Because I thought it was going to be different. The second one was not that different, but I think that this one, with having evil Na'vi, is going to be something that I think is going to be really special.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not too long. I know some of his the Avatar movies are his longest movies too. Yeah, and we'll see.
We'll see. Next up, Cuckoo's Hunter Schafer, also she's a cast member on the show Euphoria, wants to be playing Mystique in the MCU's version of X-Men. Go for it. I think she's a great choice.
Main actress in Cuckoo?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The kind of older teenage type character from Cuckoo.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I think she's a great pick. I think she fits it really beautifully. So.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So,
yeah.
But next up, Spider-Man 4 has been delayed a week from July 24th, 2026 to July 31st, 2026. Take your time. If they needed more days, take your time. It's okay.
That means it's going to be filming sometime before the end of this year, so we'll see what the story ends up being. We do know that it is the same director as Shang-Chi, which I believe is a good choice.
That's a great choice.
So
underrated MCU movie right there.
100%. Yeah, I love that movie. So next up, if you were curious at all, like I am, with how popular it was, Den of Thieves 2 Pantera will be streaming exclusively on Netflix starting on March 20th. So I haven't seen the first one, so I'll probably check out the first one before this one comes out, because this one did pretty well at the box office. I mean, there wasn't a lot of competition, but it did really well. So I'm curious, and there's a third one coming, so it's going to be a good chance to check it out.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, it was top of the box office, I think, for like 2 weeks, right? Something like that, 2 weeks in a row. Which, hey, if you're on top of the box office, that's okay, no matter how you get there and what is.
And it wasn't even marketed that well, so it's like it must be something about it.
Exactly. Well, speaking of marketing well, Moana 2 will officially be available for streaming on March 12th, exclusively on Disney Plus. What a shocker! But yeah, if you missed it and wanted to watch it, go right ahead. I enjoyed it, so it wasn't a good sequel, it wasn't a bad sequel, it's just right up the middle.
Yep, it was just all right. But if you didn't get the chance to check it out in theaters, which I mean a lot of people did because it was a very successful movie,
very popular.
Yeah, I mean you can check it out on Disney Plus. Speaking of streaming again, The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim will be available for streaming on Max starting this Friday, so in 2 days.
I'm excited for this one. Actually.
Yeah, because you didn't get to see it in theaters, Kevin, so I highly recommend checking it out at home. Beautifully animated. Not the most essential movie in the Lord of the Rings kind of universe, but it was a very beautifully done movie. So
differently done movie.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Speak No Evil's James Whitkins will direct the DCU's Clayface movie. It's going to be written by Mike Flanagan and said to be a body horror movie.
Yeah, all very much on board for this. It's going to be tied to the DCU with Superman in that world, and I mean it's been written by Mike Flanagan, who did The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor and Midnight Mass, and kind of becoming a horror icon. Is writing this, and with having the director of Speak No Evil, which was just very successful, and going the body horror route, like with Clayface, that makes sense. Like this guy is he's made of clay and he's able to contort himself into whoever he needs to be. That is going to be really kind of creepy.
I can see that, but I can also see it being really bad using too much CGI for that kind of body manipulation and stuff like that. So hopefully they can get physical, like what are the people in the circuses that do it?
Contortionists?
Yeah, like a lot of that to be used. That would be very cool to see.
Yeah, definitely on board. Hopefully it turns out pretty well. Next up, shockingly, Dwayne Johnson has been cast alongside Leonardo DiCaprio in Martin Scorsese's next film. So apparently we thought this was going to be The Devil in the White City. But it sounds like it's not going to be Devil in the White City. In fact, it will be something more to do with Dwayne Johnson playing like a Hawaiian mob boss of some sort, which makes sense given his cultural heritage. So, I mean, if he can do it and he can act it, and like if Scorsese has faith in him to cast him, then I'm interested to see what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I can see him. That's the only thing I can see him as a mob boss, unfortunately. So hopefully he can break out of his shell a little bit more. But last up, Amazon has claimed creative control over James Bond.
I think this is a very bad thing. Apparently, so I mean, say what you will about the James Bond films, they've at least been consistent and they have a good grasp of the character. That was because most of the creative decisions went through producer Barbara Broccoli, who has been in charge of the franchise for a long time. And we had talked about this recently where she had been interviewed about working with Amazon and had called the people at Amazon, quote, fucking idiots. And now those fucking idiots have control over the franchise.
Well,
but there has been some stuff coming out about how movies have been delayed because of producer Barbara Broccoli and the company that she runs, kind of having like way too much nitpicking stuff when it comes to films. Christopher Nolan wanted to direct the last James Bond movie after Tenet, but ended up dropping out and didn't want to do it because of the company behind it. So who knows? We'll see if it ends up being anything. It's just going to be crazy to think that there's a James Bond movie releasing exclusively on Amazon.
Yeah, I can see like TV shows on exclusively on Amazon. Like if they do something like that, I don't think I'd be too mad at it. But like big budget James Bond movies, I don't know how they would do that.
I mean, Amazon does release movies theatrically. We saw that with Red One, but
yeah, but how bad was Red One?
It doesn't matter. They released it theatrically, and I think if they do not release James Bond theatrically, that would cause a huge uproar because that's what people want to see it.
Yeah.
So, but that's it for the news stories this week. Look at this stream being educational because I've never heard of Kathleen Kennedy. There you go.
I didn't know who that was either.
Yeah, very popular Hollywood producer who was asked to be in control of the Star Wars franchise. Quick question: why was the countdown music different? No idea.
No idea either.
It just changed on us. There's no way to change the audio for it, so it sounds like StreamYard, who we use, updated it without us knowing. Another news: White Chicks 2 has been announced. I would sincerely hope that's not the case because White Chicks.
I think it is true, actually, and I'm okay with it.
Official as of 2 days ago, the Wayans brothers clarified that the sequel to White Chicks is, quote, not happening. That is the recent update. So unfortunately, that has been disproven. Sorry. I was going to say, I didn't see a story on that, and that would be pretty big news if that got a sequel. Alrighty, let's go ahead and dive into the trailers that came out this week, and I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it. Nothing really looks interesting. The only thing that looks somewhat interesting is Clown in a Cornfield, which not innocent in our group.
That looks interesting, and then Fear Street as well, because Fear Street 1, 2, 3 were pretty good as well on Netflix, so that looks interesting. But yeah, Clown in a Cornfield looks like a cheesy horror movie. Which
why is there a clown in a cornfield? We're gonna have to find out.
Exactly.
But it's the same director as Tucker and Dale versus Evil, so I am like totally here for it. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is a fantastic like horror satire.
Okay. I have not seen it.
But we'll go ahead and move on to the box office, Kevin.
Yeah, box office. Number one, no surprise here, is Captain America: Brave New World, coming in with 28.2 million, almost made the same amount of money last week too. The Monkey coming in with 14 million. Paddington in Peru with 6.5 million. Dogman with 5.9 million, and Heart Eyes still hanging in there with 2.7 million. Monkey increased their revenue, right?
This is the first weekend.
First week, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so got up there.
Yeah, and that's now Osgood Perkins, who directed that and Longlegs, has given Neon 2 of their biggest openings ever, which is awesome. Keep it going. Osgood knows how to make a movie. But Captain America dropped pretty significantly. That's $60 million less than last. Yeah, it was 88.
Oh, I thought it was 28. My bad.
No, it's dropping off pretty quickly.
Word of mouth is not good, so unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel. It's not that Marvel movies are just going to be instantly successful. They have to be good.
You have to have some bad movies to make great movies, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, how many comebacks do we need? Like, this is the best thing since Deadpool and Wolverine. This is the best thing since Spider-Man No Way Home. You
just need to stop saying that and just have the people go in with a blind eye. That would be cool.
There you go. But let's go ahead and dive into the movies that are coming out this weekend. And up first is Last Breath. It is a true story that follows seasoned deep-sea divers as they battle the raging elements to rescue their crewmate who is trapped hundreds of feet below the ocean's surface. This movie has an instant note from me because I have thalassophobia, and being that deep in the water is like life-changingly horrifying to me. But the movie does look really good, and it does have some pretty decent reviews right now. So who knows? Up after that is My Dead Friend Zoe. Engaged in a mysterious relationship with her dead best friend from the army, a female Afghanistan veteran comes head-to-head with her Vietnam vet grandfather at the family's ancestral lake house. This does have a 77 on Metacritic, so it is getting some fairly positive reviews. Looks like some sort of nice look into what veterans go through upon coming back. Up after that is Mobile Suit Gundam GQX Beginning. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced at all. In a war between Zeon and Earth Federation, a stolen prototype Gundam vanishes. Years later, a girl with mysterious abilities finds herself piloting a new Gundam in underground mech battles while searching for answers about her powers. I do not know anything about Gundam or any of the lore, but the trailer, this movie looks gorgeously animated.
You should watch some of the Gundam Suit movies. I remember watching them as a kid. They were absolutely gorgeous. So
I do want to watch some of them and the series as well, but it just depends on when I actually have time. And lastly, there is the film Riff Raff, a former criminal's ordinary life which is turned upside down when his old family shows up for a long-awaited reunion. This has a giant cast of people, including Jennifer Coolidge, Ed Harris, Pete Davidson, and Bill Murray, among a lot of people. So looks like it has pretty middle-of-the-road reviews, but if you check out the trailer and it interests you, go check it out. Don't let us stop. Alrighty, so I think this means we get to move on to
our
movie corner, where we get to talk about what we watched last week. It's been a pretty quick episode. Not a lot going on this week. But the first movie I watched this week is like one of the last ones, so I'm going to go ahead and move it up on your order, Kevin.
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and talk about it. Because let's not even spoil it. So the first movie that I watched and the one that Kevin watched is The Monkey, which we just talked about on the box office. I gave the film a 91 out of 100, and Kevin gave it a 90 out of 100. So we're really close. So Kevin, kind of how did you feel walking out of it?
I felt walking out of it like I had a great time at the movie theater, and it gave me that gory horror that I like, and grotesque, and just like sitting there going, oh my gosh. Like I think I did that a couple of times during some of the kills, which is fantastic. I love when I have to physically speak out loud, be kind of disgusted. But the comedy in this movie doesn't ruin this movie, which is really nice. It's put in there in a way that it makes it hilarious, and some of the kills make it even funnier sometimes because of the comedic relief behind it. So I absolutely loved it. And I wanted to say, you said this in the movie theaters too, this is your second time going to the movies with me and the same director in the same weekend.
Oh yeah, because we both I saw Long Legs twice in opening weekend, and then the second time was with you. Similarly with this one. I thoroughly love this. I don't think it's as good as Long Legs. I think we both are kind of on the same thing.
But is it different?
It's way different. And
exactly.
I think it's still a great time in the movie theater, whereas Long Legs made you feel like you had just complete dread the entire time. This, you're laughing and you're having a great time. Like you said, it's a great time at the theater. I do think the film has some flaws. I think there's some issues in its third act. I don't think the brother dynamic is as fully explored as it could have been. Like, I get why they don't like each other, but like, could have used a little bit more evidence. But like, this movie is bonkersly absurd, and I think that this is the best kind of example of like a good film that knows what it's trying to do. It's trying to be a comedy, and it succeeds in having horror elements as well. Whereas like a movie like Hard Eyes didn't know if it wanted to be a romantic comedy or a slasher movie, and kind of felt torn. So I feel like this is kind of the best case example of this is a movie that knows what it's trying to be versus a movie that isn't. It's also really well paced too. It's just an hour and a half. Like, it's a perfectly
we were out of the movies by 2 hours, and it felt like it was maybe an hour or something like that.
I mean, I'm just gonna say I would have loved another 30 minutes of just random kills and stuff happening, but but that would have just made it feel too long and gone on too much. I think an hour and a half was that perfect time limit.
Yeah, because we don't need to see the whole town. Oh, never mind.
We don't need to see the whole, whole towns
Everything
die
happen.
or whole worlds die.
Yeah.
But it is a bonkers movie, and I love how it plays into everything absurd that happens in it.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and take a look at the other movies. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 2. So I'll do 3 and you do 1. So up first for me, after The Monkey, was Piece by Piece, which is the Pharrell Williams documentary that was done in Lego. Stunningly animated. It's a gorgeous looking movie. I think it's hilarious that we get so many different types of imagery and things that I would never see in Lego in this movie. Recreations of Snoop Dogg music videos, Kendrick Lamar videos, No Doubt video. I didn't know I needed to see so many Lego figures in bikinis, or it's really retelling these stories of real life, and it's so really weird to see it all in Lego. But it's at its best though when it's highlighting what Pharrell kind of sees and what he thinks when he hears music, and I think that's when it's at its best. I do think that it's a little biased, and I think they gloss over a lot of stuff because it is coming directly from him. He's it's kind of like an autobiography. It's not really an external documentary looking at him. So you're not going to see the controversy over blurred lines or anything like that, right? But you do get some really emotional moments, and I think that the using of the Lego aesthetic is what you're going to remember it for, not because of Pharrell. He's not the most incredible person in the world, so it's you just kind of remember it because of the style. Okay. I am going to leave this one till last, actually, because there's some stuff I want to talk about with it. But next up for me is Golden Door, which is the first film that I had to watch for my class. This movie is about an Italian family who is immigrating to the United States. On their way to the United States, the patriarch of the family, who's a widower, meets an English woman who says that she has to get married before arriving in the U.S., so he agrees to it. And, it's a tale about immigration to the United States during that 1900s time period. So this is pre-World War I era. The cast is the best part of this movie. The cast is really good. The biggest problem with it is that it's more concerned with being a visual tone poem and kind of just showing visuals as opposed to telling just a story about immigration, right? We see a lot of it them in Italy and on the journey over, and then the last 20-30 minutes is them on Ellis Island, but we don't see anything after that. We don't see anything that takes place when they get to America. What's the experience like for an immigrant in America at the time? It's just a little disappointing. I would much more highly recommend The Brutalist instead, as a film that kind of recently that shows the immigration process to the United States. So it was all right. 52 is what I gave it. Next up, though, we had just covered a Buster Keaton film on Movie Club called Sherlock Jr., which we both absolutely loved. And Criterion Channel has a collection of Buster Keaton movies, so I wanted to go ahead and watch another one. So I watched Seven Chances from 1925. The movie has not aged that well. There's a prominent character in blackface, which is... that doesn't affect the scoring of the film because it's a product of its time. There's nothing we can do about that. But it's worth pointing out. It's a really fun movie from beginning to end. Basically, Buster Keaton plays a bachelor who is kind of in love with this girl, but then he finds out that his grandfather or some rich uncle or whatever has passed away and has said, you get $7 million, but you have to be married by 7 o'clock on your 27th birthday. And that happens to be the exact day that he hears about it. So he ends up putting out an ad in the paper for any woman that'll get married to him after his love declines him. And then he's, for over half the movie, is pursued by hundreds of women, and giving it one of the best foot chases in film history. We talked about this on Sherlock Jr. It is just pure Hollywood magic of its time period. There's some really incredible stunts here. you know, like, yes, there's products of its time that don't age well, but you have to put those aside because of a lot of the magic that's going on here.
Yeah.
And I don't think the first half is as memorable as the last half. It's still good, but it's just smaller scale comedy, whereas the end gets very grandiose. It's one of the biggest set pieces I think I've seen in a 20s film. So,
Nice.
so yeah, highly recommend Seven Chances if you get the chance.
Ha. Is it me? Yeah. Next up for me is Tick Tick Boom. I saw this on Netflix and I've been wanting to watch it because it had like it didn't win an Academy, but I think it was
It won the Academy.
It did. Okay, that's what I thought.
Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Editing, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress. Yeah, it swept.
Well, because they have the little title on there where it's like Oscar winners or nominees and stuff like that. So I saw that on Netflix and I was like, oh, I like Andrew Garfield. I think he's really good.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the other movie.
What other movie?
I'm an idiot. You have another movie on here that won a lot of Oscars. No, Tick Tick Boom was nominated for like one, maybe.
Yeah. I was gonna say I didn't think it was.
That's Garrett fucking up.
No, that's okay. But yeah, I was interested in seeing it. I liked Andrew Garfield in different movies now, and I actually can't wait to see All in Time with the one that came out last year. What is it?
We Live in Time.
We Live in Time, because he's such a good actor. Period. End of story. Like, he can sing, he gets you emotional in this movie, and he tells the story so good about being a playwright. And I didn't know this was actually based on the person who did Rent, and it's really interesting on what the struggles of a playwright and how he has to just keep moving on is what he always says. But it was really good. I was in it for Andrew Garfield because he's becoming one of my favorite actors right now, and I gave it a 90 out of 100 because I thought it was good, and it's a musical, so I was kind of getting into musicals now, so I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. And the musical aspect in this is so different than other movies, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards.
Oh, okay.
Andrew Garfield was nominated for it. So
good.
Alrighty. Well, I have one movie here before I get to my last one, and I think I'm going to save. Both of us have a last one that are kind of special. So
yeah.
So for me, It Happened One Night from 1934. This is an Oscar winner for Best Picture and Best Actress and Actor for Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert. Jokingly, it is with deep consideration and thought that I can confirm that I too would fall in love with Claudette Colbert. She is absolutely fantastic in this movie. But this is one of those movies that is just, again, like Seven Chances, it radiates that old Hollywood magic of the time, right? You have these big stars, and this film is a prototype rom-com. It's one of the first ones out there. Claudette Colbert plays an heiress of a pretty immense fortune who runs away from her father, who is trying to keep her away from her husband that she legally married, but not like in a church or whatever. So she runs away to be with her husband, and on the way meets a down on his luck reporter played by Clark Gable, who ends up striking a deal with her and like, I'll help you get to your husband if you give me the exclusive scoop on the story. It's a romantic comedy. You know what ends up happening between the two of them, but it's just so charmingly played, and it is so effortlessly funny. Like, they're not having to try very hard to make this very funny. It's a very sweet and heartfelt film, and there's just some genuine laugh out loud moments. It does slow down a little bit in its second act, I would say, before they really like. There are some romantic sparks between Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, but when those start flying a little bit more is when it starts picking up. And it's probably like a 10-15 minute stretch of the film where it just kind of slows down. But this movie it's damn near perfect. I really enjoyed this movie. It's very hard for romantic comedy movies to really hit me here, right? I'll say it every time. I've got a little bit of a black heart, but like every once in a while, like a movie can crack through that obsidian shell around my heart and make me feel something. And this one did. Would highly recommend it.
Very cool.
Alrighty. So Kevin, up next.
Yep.
This is very special because it's not every day. It's not every week on our live stream that you and I each have a new movie that gets a perfect 100.
Yes, yes, that is very true. I will go first, and I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, and this is a trippy ass movie, but it works, and I absolutely love it. I mean, I bought it before I even watched it. I think I got it on Black Friday or something like that for like $6 or something, and I'm so glad I bought it because watching it now, I'm like, I could watch this again in a second, just because of how crazy and how just the story never gets lost in this movie, no matter how crazy it gets. You never are like, what is going on? Well, you are, but the story is like, okay, I understand what is happening, and everybody, absolutely everybody in this movie is fantastic. And I can see why it won all of those awards because of how
The
great.
ones that I falsely attributed to.
You don't have to say them again. It's okay. But yeah, I gave it 100 out of 100. If you haven't watched this movie, please go watch it. It's just, and there's some comedy in it too that I didn't think would be in it as well. But yeah, fantastic movie.
It is funny. It's emotional. It's like it's everything. So, I have the film at 100 too. I absolutely love that movie, and I think that it's one of those movies that can turn people off just by the concept and by the trailer. But I showed that movie to my mom, and she fell in love with it too. Like she was like, "This is really weird," but then by the end of it, when everything kind of makes sense with what's going on, it wins everyone over, and so it just makes sense. Alrighty, so my new latest 5-star film. It's a little bit of an odd one, but finally checked it out, and that is Neon Genesis Evangelion, The End of Evangelion, which is a little hard to recommend just to everyone, just because you have to have seen the 26-episode series before watching this movie, because this is a redo of the last 2 episodes, and I don't want to delve into the lore here of why that happened, but...
Can you try not to spoil it too?
No, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
This is a complete visual triumph. This movie is gorgeous from beginning to end, thematically and visually. It does, you do have to watch the show to know what's going on, but this movie, you get very emotionally attached to this because after seeing the series, you already are attached to these characters, and you want what's best to happen to them, at least to the character that you like the most, or whatever it may be. A lot of this series and this movie in particular deal with struggling with mental health and depression specifically. And as someone who struggles with that, there is a very real connection that I have to this movie. It's this introspective look set against a major event. That's all I will say, to not spoil anything for Kevin. I like the ending of the series a little bit better, but this movie feels more impactful. And in some ways, this movie is a middle finger to the audience, because this movie was made because a lot of the audience hated the ending of the series. And this feels like a middle finger to the people who sent death threats to the creator. So I absolutely enjoyed this movie. Like it's not every day. I started out my review by saying this. It's not every day you watch a movie that is like a game changer. Like I haven't stopped thinking about this movie since I watched it. It's one of those. It just really affects you. So that's why I give it 100.
Nice.
But that's it for all the movies we've watched. I have watched it and discussed it with Garrett in the past. It is a good movie, but not even close to 100. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I believe it's what you're talking about there, Joey.
Yeah.
It's okay, you're wrong. It's all right. I think that's where the discussion ended up. We agreed that you were wrong. That it is under 100. No, I'm just kidding. Where did it go? There it is. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the wheel spin stuff here, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll go first.
See how it is. Hey, you're the one that brought it up. No, I'm just kidding. But Kevin, your short was the one that I picked for you.
Yes, it was, and it was called The Turnaround. And I enjoy this a lot because I am a sports fan. And I don't understand. I am a hockey fan and a baseball fan and a football fan. Like a hockey fan, the Ducks are not doing great this year, but there's no reason to boo your own players. You want to have the players. You want to like embrace the players and make them want to do better and make them want to do what they came here to do. If you go home, go to their home stadium and everything, and they're getting booed at their home stadium, they don't want to play there anymore. So I've always thought about it's always positivity that I like in sports. It's never the negativity. Yes, there's going to be some times where you're like, what the hell are they doing out there? But don't boo them. Don't get upset because they're not doing the right play. They're the professionals. We're the one paying to watch them. So I really love this movie because it just shows and spreads positivity in sports. Just because he was down on his luck and he couldn't get it going, we don't know the other side of this story either, which is really interesting, because what if he was struggling somewhere else, but they don't put that in the tabloids or anything like that.
Yeah.
So but it's just it's crazy. It's great to see that a whole fan base can come together and make something positive out of it. So I gave it a 92 out of 100.
Yeah, and I really like the shot at the end when the person we're following through the entire short is in the line, kind of cheering people on, and the way that they shoot him meeting the player was really special.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. Well, I'm glad you liked it. My short was Doggone Tired, which is a new Tex Avery short that I had never seen before. Regarding a hunter and his dog. Dog needs to go to sleep because in the morning they're going to hunt some rabbits, but the rabbit doesn't like that. So the rabbit does his best to keep the dog up all night long. And it features the wonderful Tex Avery animation and direction. I really enjoy what he does with his shorts. I particularly love the sequence when the dog gets up to hunt and then immediately turns around and goes back to bed. And that's just me in the morning before work. So, but yeah, this was a good one. Not like the best Tex Avery one I've seen, but it was very good. So,
very cool.
All right.
Next up for me, a horror Black Friday movie called Black Friday, and this one's gonna be really funny, but it's a what's it called? A guilty pleasure movie. It's not the best written. The characters sometimes they get a little bit of annoying, but they're supposed to be annoying, so I totally understand it. The horror aspect of this movie, kind of like zombie-ish going on, but they're actual customers in a toy store, which I think that is hilarious because it's Black Friday. They just want to get the best deals and they're bowling over people. And it's like, well, they were zombies when they came in, and then they got infected and became even more zombies. So that's how I looked at it. I thought it was really fun. Comedy in this, it doesn't take itself seriously, which is really nice. It's not going to be like what Garrett said, hard ice. This one knows what it is, and it plays a good key in here, and I like it. It's going to be hopefully a holiday movie for Black Friday to watch on Black Friday. So I give it 65 out of 100.
Watch it before you go get trampled at the store. And my out of season movie pick for this week was The Muppet Christmas Carol, and I have seen this before. I just had never reviewed it. I watched this last when I was a kid, and I think this is probably my favorite film version of this story. I do think that it is a lot of fun, and a lot of that comes down to the Muppets themselves and the kind of humor that they bring to the movie, but also Michael Caine's performance as Scrooge is really good in this movie. I think that the biggest issue with the movie that I have is the inclusion of all the songs and kind of musical moments. They just don't really work for me, and they're not really written very well. It does feel like it does grind the film to a halt when they happen, at least for me personally. But the only song that's worth anything is the one in the beginning about Scrooge and how he's a bad person. That one's pretty good. But like I said, the Muppets make this film better, and the humor is a good counterpoint because this story is very dark. The Christmas Carol story is pretty dark. So like their humor is a nice counterbalance to that, and it kind of adds a little bit more of a life to it, which I really appreciate. And like I said, Michael Caine's performance is very good. He's clearly having a blast acting alongside the Muppets, and I love that. And if you've never seen it, I would highly recommend adding it to your list for the holiday season. I wouldn't probably watch it right now but
Mhm.
once you get closer to the holidays, it's just one of those kind of special movies, and it's got like that kind of practical effect magic that you like to see. So,
Very
so
cool.
84.
Nice.
But that is it for all the movies we watched. So, Kevin, you know what time it is.
It's the wheel spinning of spin wheels time.
Yes, it is. And of course, we got a large wheel here. We got a lot on it. So, but I'm never going to say no to some more suggestions. What needs to go on here? I know we have Nadia and Joey in here. Let's see what you got. What do you want to throw on here? What do you want to see us watch? What do you want us to watch? What do you want us to
enjoy?
Enjoy, or what do you want to torture us with? That could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
But while we're waiting for some of those suggestions to get in, Kevin, what are you looking for this week? You got a horror movie last week.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking for this one?
I mean, can't go wrong with another horror movie. Even if it is it might be not the worst, not the best movie. Can't go wrong with horror. Am I looking for something? Maybe some action. I'm seeing Lucky Number 11 on there. Might be kind of fun to watch.
Rhymes with your name.
Mm-hmm. Apocalypse I've already watched. I don't know. Firestarter. I heard Firestarter's really good, the 80s version. So.
All right. Well, Nadia's got us Leprechaun and Goosebumps. The Jack Black one.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I've seen Leprechaun. I think I have. So.
Okay. And I know Joey's still here. So, Joey, if you got any other recommendations, or you might be typing. Sorry to interrupt. But we'll wait for those, and then since it's only the two of you, we'll spin once that's in. If you have anything. If you don't have anything, you can just say I don't have anything. As for me, I don't know what I'm looking for. Pretty much anything. Give me anything. I don't know. It'll probably have to wait until after the weekend just because I got my final paper, but I'll still be able to watch something.
I have watched Leprechaun, so that would be an only Garrett one.
All right. All right. Well, I'll give you another minute there, Joey, if you're there. All righty. Yeah, luckily there's not a lot coming out this weekend.
I love how you didn't put the year of the Goosebumps. You just put the Jack Black one.
Yeah, sometimes that's easier. All right. Cellular from 2004. And we have Snatch from 2000.
I think that's the one with The Rock.
No, Snatch is the one with oh my gosh, Brad Pitt.
Oh.
I believe Brad Pitt. He's in a really bad Irish accent. Alrighty, Kevin, let's get you a short.
Give me a short. Let's see if we can land on a short. That would be cool.
That'd be fucking fantastic. And I think it actually will. Yeah, Little Rural Red Hood. It's a euphemism for something so foul we can't even talk about it on the show. No, I'm just kidding. Alrighty. We landed on one. Holy shit. I should have had balloons ready or something. Alright, look at my short here.
Now, if you'd land on two shorts, that would be kind of weird, but cool at the same time.
Alrighty. Well, there's something, Ant something is the closest one. Ant Pasted is going to be my short.
Some of these shorts have weird ass names.
Yeah, they're from a different time, different time. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get Kevin's movie.
Spirit Halloween. Sorry, I just saw that one.
Joey says, I believe that's Tex Avery's last Red Riding Hood short.
Oh, okay.
Kevin is going to be watching Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh, I actually don't. I like that movie.
That was a very confusing thing to say. You do or do not like that movie?
No, I enjoy that movie, even though it's kind of dumb.
Well, there you go. That's your movie this week. And let's go ahead and spin it for me. I'm kind of looking for anything here. Hopefully something that I haven't seen at all. The Taking of Deborah Logan.
Which one's
I believe that is a Nadia pick.
I think
if I'm not mistaken. 2014 horror movie.
Ooh, that looks interesting.
Let's see. Looks like it's got some kind of middle of the old reviews, or road reviews. So we'll see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Taking of Deborah Logan. Alrighty. So, let me remove that from the wheel. It's probably a good idea. Alrighty. So, Kevin will be watching the short film Little Rural Red Hood, and then Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs will be his film. And for me, it'll be a short Ant Pasted, and then the film The Taking of Deborah Logan. So those will be our films. The Cloudy Meatball story was like 20 pages. Still don't get how it got a movie and a sequel. They're both good.
They're not bad. Like, I can't complain.
The second one has so many dad joke like puns that it's really funny. But the first one is genuinely a good animated movie. So
it is. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, but that is going to be it for this week. Yes, celebrate. That's going to be it for this week, though. We do have our new...
Sorry.
Our new movie club episode comes out on Friday, which Friday is going to be Lawrence of Arabia.
Yes, it is.
Which is
one of the big ones.
A very big one. So excited for you guys to check that out. And then next week after that, it's going to be another good one as well. So
yes, it is.
Can't wait. So that'll go live on Friday at 4 a.m. And also going live on Friday.
Oh,
the Real Watchers Awards.
Oh,
I finally got around to finishing editing it. Excuse me. That was hard to say. But that'll be coming out on Friday as well. So that'll be coming out right before the Oscars on Sunday. So some exciting stuff there. But anywho, that is going to be it. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, be sure to keep those eyes on the screen.